Hello and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time on my channel. My name is Justina, and in today's video I'm going to talk about the total solar eclipse happening on December the 4th at 12 degrees of fire sign Sagittarius. So here a solar eclipse is 6 times stronger than a regular new moon, and this is a total solar eclipse, so major changes may occur around this time. Now a south node solar eclipse is somewhat a time of clearing away, moving away from some old structures, life structures, relationships, routine, behavioral patterns, in order to make space for something greater to emerge, to begin. Now this family of eclipses started on June the 5th, 2020, and this is the end of this family of eclipses. We are ending and we're moving into Scorpio and Taurus eclipses that already started in November. Now with this solar eclipse in Sagittarius, the final eclipse on these Gemini and Sagittarius axis, in the months to come we might experience changes moving forward in the sphere of foreign travel, education, religion, or beliefs as well. So here with this total solar eclipse in Sagittarius, here yet again foreign travel is challenged at the moment. So a total solar eclipse indicates major changes, but also mutable energy helps us to become more adaptable, more flexible, and things are really changeable, moving at a faster pace here in mutable signs. Mercury is in a very close proximity to this solar eclipse, and Mercury is combust, which means that its influence is overpowered by the energy of the sun, and this could affect our rational and straightforward thinking. And on a global level, information might not be fully exposed or available. Mercury also squares Neptune in Pisces, and this could bring potential confusion, delusion, but also a stronger sensitivity to infections or bacteria, so it's something to pay attention to. Right, so without further ado, let's move into the predictions for each rising sign, or sun sign if you prefer. Hello Aries, and welcome to your horoscope for this solar eclipse. This solar eclipse will activate your 9th house, and with this in mind, your desire for space, freedom, independence, adventure, spontaneity is likely to be increased. With the south node involved, you might be moving away from some outlived life philosophies, beliefs, and you might redefine your life direction at this time. So you will be full of ideas as well. Now, this solar eclipse also might stimulate your hunger for knowledge. So you might want to learn, expand your knowledge, your wisdom. And generally you seek intellectually stimulating activities, experiences, and connections with others. You might also decide you want to move into a career connected to politics, or foreign travel, higher education. Now, with Mars in the 8th house, squaring Jupiter in your 11th house, this will be also a great time for showing off your skills, showing off your talents into the outer world. So you might be involved in some group activities or teamwork. Now, this solar eclipse will also quincunx or in conjunct, at two different names for the same aspect, but Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus in Taurus will be stimulated, triggered here at this time in the 2nd house, and this could also increase your desire for becoming more independent, financially independent, or self-sufficient in order to reach your goals, your desires you may have for yourself. This might require a little sacrifice. However, the results might be really worth it. With the solar eclipse, you might also get involved in some spiritual work or spiritual activities. Right, so I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Taurus, and welcome to your solar eclipse in Sagittarius forecast, and this solar eclipse will activate your 8th house. And with this solar eclipse, in the weeks or months to come, you might have an opportunity to begin a very important relationship with another, with someone with whom you will be able to blend your energies, connect on a deeper level. You might get involved in some healing activities as well, or your interest in metaphysics topics might also increase. Now, this solar eclipse also offers you an opportunity to move away from any disturbing or distracting routines, behavioral patterns, or any blockages that stand in the way of self-empowerment. If you feel like your life was on a wrong track, then this solar eclipse might also help you to realign you with where is it that you're supposed to be. You might also have to make a very important decision at this time, and you might reassess your options, and this could be also kind of a self-review. Now, you might also want to invest your money, or perhaps invest or share your talents and skills with others, because you are fully aware of other people's needs with this solar eclipse. Now, we've got a few alignments here as well. The solar eclipse in conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your first house. Pay attention, because there could be someone who wants to take advantage of your skills, of your talents, and use it to their own benefit. It might not apply to everyone, but it's something to kind of pay attention to. And also, Mars in your 7th house will square Jupiter in your 10th house. And this could give you an opportunity or possibility to find a career that could help you to grow or expand your skills, your talents, and your gifts. And on this note, I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Geminis, and welcome to your forecast for the solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And this solar eclipse activates your 7th house of personal relationships, love, marriage, business partnerships. So here, the issue of balance and harmony comes into focus, and your attention turns into your most personal relationships, love, marriage, business partnerships, friendships. The type of people you were attracted to before might change completely. And you might be dealing with contracts, with some agreements as well. Now, anything connected to public relations, counseling, or law might also be of the major focus at this time. Now, when it comes to any opportunities or new possibilities, these might come through your friends, these might come through your partner or business partner. So generally, you rely on new opportunities at this time on others. This solar eclipse will also in conjunct Uranus in Taurus in your 12th house. So perhaps you might have to sacrifice something for someone close to your heart or for your partner. And with the South Node involved, you're moving away from some old and outlived behavioral patterns, routines that negatively contribute into your one-to-one relationships. Obviously, with the solar eclipse, a time of new beginnings, you might be getting married, engaged, and meet someone new. So some new beginnings in your personal life could also emerge. And on this note, I wish you a pleasant solar eclipse. So happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Cancers, and welcome. Now, this solar eclipse will activate your 6th house, and with this in mind, the issue of work, health, employment, co-workers, everyday routine, small pets, diet, health comes into focus. Now, with the South Node involved, this is a time when you might be moving away from some outlived dietary habits, health routines, exercise regimes, whatever outlives its purpose, whatever doesn't align with who you want to become or who you have become this year. So you might be starting a new exercise regime. You might be starting a new diet or a new health regime as well this time. Now, when it comes to your work, there could be an opportunity for working abroad or for working with people from different backgrounds or culture to yours. But also you might be involved in a new project, or you might find a new job that requires problem-solving abilities. So here with this solar eclipse, you can really achieve a lot. However, you need to make sure that you are well organized, because you will be able to confront any challenges that come your way, as long as you've got the right attitude. And also, thoughts concerning long-term plans, long-term goals might also be triggered at this time. And on this note, I wish you a pleasant solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Leos, and welcome to your forecast for the solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And this solar eclipse activates your 5th house. So here with the solar eclipse, you might have a really strong inner desire for expressing yourself creatively, for reconnecting with your inner child, for living your life in a more carefree way. So it's a really great time for investing in yourself, in your potential, for expanding your creative skills, talents, gifts. Because you might attract some really important or influential individuals that could help you to move up in your career. Alternatively, you might also have to sacrifice some fun or entertainment in order to accomplish an important milestone in your life. Generally, with this solar eclipse, you might also want to work more independently as well, because Mars will square Jupiter. So this kind of increases the desire for independent work, but you might also want to use the advice of others. Now, with the South Node involved, you might be moving away from some old hobbies or interests. So you might start a new hobby at this time, or you might want to do some freelancing, or you might want to set up your own business. And you might be involved in some work with young people, with children. You might redefine your parenting style as well. Or this could be the beginning of some amazing romantic relationship as well. And on this note, I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Virgos, and welcome to your forecast for the solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And this solar eclipse activates your 4th house. And here, the issue of personal boundaries, inner emotional safety and security comes into focus. And you might be more interested at this time in your inner world rather than in the outer world. So here with this solar eclipse, you might want to better understand your needs, your desires. What is it that makes you feel emotionally safe, secure? How you can establish a solid or build a solid home and family foundation. With the South Node involved, we might be moving from some outlived behavioral patterns, routines that no longer serve any purpose. And this solar eclipse might also prompt you to become more independent, especially if in the past you overly dependent on others for security. Now with the solar eclipse, you might seek to become more independent, more self-sufficient by working on your self-esteem and by using your skills and talents in order to benefit yourself. This solar eclipse might also prompt you to expand your knowledge. Here, higher education is highlighted in conjunction to Uranus in Taurus in your 9th house. So you might return to some formal education. You might want to start a new course of study in order to expand your skills, your knowledge. Here with the solar eclipse, you might be also relocating, refurnishing, selling, buying a property. Or alternatively, you might also work from home. And generally, you want to make your future more secure, more stable moving forward. And on this note, I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Libras, and welcome to the solar eclipse in Sagittarius forecast. And this solar eclipse will activate your 3rd house. Communication comes into focus. It's important that you communicate clearly, effectively, or if you're going to deal with any paperwork, make sure you read everything twice, or if you are going to send any emails, messages, also read everything before sending, because here the solar eclipse highlights communication, written documents, paperwork, and also Mercury is combust, so your rational thinking might not be so straightforward. And Mercury is also squaring Neptune, so there could be some confusion, delusion as well. So the solar eclipse will also quincunx or in conjunct the Uranus in Taurus, so you might distrust others at times. You might distrust their intentions. However, it's really important that you don't jump too quickly into conclusions and first let others show their true motives. If you are going to be working on some important projects, be patient, because you might be easily distracted. Your mind might be really overstimulated at this time, or even restless. And Mars will square Jupiter in Aquarius as well. So it might take you an extra effort to reach your goals, aspirations, or any plans you may have. So patience is really important. And also good planning, being organized. Now with the South Node involved, you might also have an opportunity to resolve any dilemmas, any issues with your siblings or people from your community. And generally there could be also some changes in your community, and you might be also making some changes in terms of any habits or routines as well. Right, so on this note, I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Scorpios, and welcome to your forecast for the solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And this solar eclipse activates your second house. So here your finances, your income, your personal values, resources, possessions come into focus. You might be redefining your personal values. You might be reassessing your strengths, your weaknesses, your money spending habits. You might be moving away from some outlived habits, routines, anything that affects your wealth or your potentials for accumulating more wealth or more money in general. Now your income situation might change. You might be starting a new business. You might be starting a new project, a project that could help you to improve your financial situation. And this is actually quite beneficial at this time because Mars will square Jupiter in Aquarius, and here with Mars here, this really positively influences independent work. So you might be working independently on some projects that could bring money into your bank accounts, and you might be really satisfied with that. Now, what else we've got? Yes, we've got also the solar eclipse will quincunx or in conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So you might be attracted to people or partners that are stable, trusting, and fascinating as well. Now, with this solar eclipse, you might also want to become more financially independent, especially if you were overly dependent on others in the past. So now the solar eclipse could be a really good time for coming up with some really interesting ideas, especially since Mercury is also present here in your second house. So your mind will be stimulated and you will be thinking about your financial situation. So it will be a great time for starting something new and to improve your finances moving forward. And on this note, I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Sagittarians, and welcome to your solar eclipse in Sagittarius eclipse. So this solar eclipse is happening in your sign, in your first house. So a very powerful time, a time when you might feel exceptionally optimistic, planning some long-term goals, long-term aims. But also the solar eclipse might prompt you to really redefine your health regime, your exercise regime, and generally you want to move forward into a healthier future. So you might want to redefine yourself. You want to become a better version of yourself at this time. And you might start a new health regime, a new diet, and you might be reassessing your strengths, your weaknesses. You might be setting some new goals for yourself. Generally, this solar eclipse also increases your curiosity, increases your need for freedom, for space, for independence, and you might have a greater need for expressing yourself creatively. You might also move into a different life direction. And with the South Node involved, you are moving away from anything that outlived its purpose, from anything that doesn't work anymore, doesn't align with your personality, with who you want to become. So this could be connected to any life structures, relationships, or even career might change at this time. And here with the quincunx to Uranus, you really want to invest in yourself, invest in your skills and your abilities. With Mars in the 12th house, squaring Jupiter in the 3rd house, you might be really inspired, full of some fantastic ideas. And this could be also a good time for getting involved in your community. So you might be involved in something bigger, some social activity, or in your community, and this could bring you really great satisfaction. Right, so on this note, I wish you a pleasant solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Capricorns, and welcome to this solar eclipse in Sagittarius forecast, and this solar eclipse will activate your 12th house. So at this time or around this time, you might be dealing with something really private. Things that perhaps seemed strange or unclear before, you might be able to understand them better with this solar eclipse. So it's a total eclipse. Now, you might be working from behind the scene. You might be also working on some ending. So you might be ending some chapters. You might be moving away from some outlived behavioral patterns, structures, routines, anything that no longer serve any purpose, anything that doesn't positively contribute to your growth, to your development. So here with the solar eclipse, it's a really great time for connecting with your inner self. You might be doing some spiritual work, you might be meditating, go on a spiritual retreat. It's a fantastic time also for being creative, for growing your creative talents. You might have this really strong desire for expressing yourself creatively. Your imagination is really vivid at this time. Your dreams as well. It's a good time for keeping a journal because you might be having some interesting dreams that could be connected to your current life situation. And finally, if you feel like you have been experiencing some financial difficulties in the last weeks or months that perhaps stood in the way or held you back and made it difficult for you to achieve your long-term plans, long-term goals, you might find it useful if you put everything on paper. So careful planning might give you really great results, and also good management of your resources, of your finances, of your wealth. The reason I'm mentioning this is because Mars is in your 11th house of long-term plans, long-term goals, which could increase your desires for dealing with your future. However, it is squaring Jupiter in your 2nd house. So here there is this need for being careful with how you manage your finances and your resources in order for you to fulfill your long-term plans and your long-term goals. Right, so on this note, I wish you a pleasant solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Aquarians, and welcome to this solar eclipse in Sagittarius forecast. And this solar eclipse will activate your 11th house, and at the time you will be really goal-oriented, and if you focus your energies on what you truly desire, you might be really surprised with the opportunities that come your way. So here, if you feel uncertain about your future, then this solar eclipse offers you an opportunity to move away from the past, from anything that outlived its purpose and doesn't align anymore with who you want to become, and instead focus on what's ahead of you, on what the future has in store for you. Because if you resist the change, you will limit your ability to take advantage of the opportunities that come your way. So here, this eclipse, this is about you and your long-term plans, long-term goals, especially if you feel like you are unable to deal with your future or with your desires as a result of any family obligations that you had to deal with in the past. This is a time to focus on your goals, on your desires that will help you to build a secure future. At this time also, Mars in your sphere of career and professional life will square Jupiter in Aquarius in your 1st house. So this could create a situation, a tense situation when you might be challenged by someone in an authority figure, someone in your career. So the best way to deal with this kind of situation is to find common ground, compromise. And on this note, I wish you a happy solar eclipse, and let's move to the next sign. Hello Pisces, and welcome to the forecast for this solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And this solar eclipse activates your 10th house of career and public life. So with the solar eclipse, your status might change. You might get married or engaged, for instance, but also your desire for moving up in your career, for receiving public recognition, might also increase. So there is this really strong desire for success, for career success. Now, there could be also changes at your existing work, changes in management. You might change your position, you might change your career direction. You might decide you want to start a new course of study in order to improve your career prospects. Also, your mind will be really stimulated. You might get involved in some really interesting projects. Generally, the solar eclipse positively influences your career prospects. You might be also moving from some outlived behavioral patterns or routines that negatively contribute into your career. And as I said earlier, you might be moving into a completely different career, because the South Node is about moving away from the old into the new, often unfamiliar. With the Mars of course, self-employment here. You might also want to become self-employed with this South Node involved. Now, with Mars in the 9th house in Scorpio, squaring Jupiter in the 12th house, you might be recognized for your achievements. And here, especially if you are involved or if you were involved in the social service efforts. Right, and on this note, I wish you a pleasant solar eclipse and thank you very much. All right, so this is what I've got for you about the solar eclipse. Thank you very much for your attention and I wish you a happy solar eclipse. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you and bye for now.